Declare this meeting of the Conshohocken Borough Council duly open and ready to conduct any business that may come before it. Could everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steph, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Totino.
Present.
Councilmember Serna.
Here.
Councilmember Kingsley.
Here.
Councilmember Barton.
Here.
Councilmember Elam.
Here.
Vice President Sokolowski.
Here.
President Leonard.
Here.
And we'll note that the mayor is absent. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. So for president announcements this evening, I would just like to congratulate Mayor Aronson and his wife Sarah, for myself and all of council, on the birth of their precious baby boy today, Thomas John Aronson. So, okay, is there anyone this evening for public comment on any of the agenda items? Okay, Britt, no one for public comment this evening. So the first item this evening is under presentations. It is the proclamation 2023-01, recognizing the Conshohocken Post 1074 VFW for 90 years of service. And it is with great pleasure that Ms. Sokolowski, our Vice President, is going to read that for the VFW.
Do we have anybody here representing the VFW tonight? Okay, I'm going to read it from my seat. A proclamation recognizing the Conshohocken Post 1074 Veterans of Foreign Wars for 90 years of service. Whereas the Conshohocken Post 1074 Veterans of Foreign Wars was founded on February 2nd, 1933, with 61 charter members, and whereas the membership of Conshohocken Post 1074 Veterans of Foreign Wars is comprised of people from all walks of life who together with its associated organizations promote and support many worthwhile activities and projects in Conshohocken Borough. And whereas the Conshohocken Post 1074 Veterans of Foreign Wars provides dedicated services for Veterans Day and Memorial Day in the Colonial School District, as well as hosts community-based events such as mental health trainings, donation drives, writing cards for troops overseas, fundraisers for those in need, and programming for families and children. And whereas, through the efforts of its members, both past and present, the Conshohocken Post 1074 Veterans of Foreign Wars has become a dedicated civic organization working for the benefit of veterans in the community and the nation. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 18th day of January 2023 that the Borough of Conshohocken wishes to extend its appreciation and commend the Conshohocken Post 1074 Veterans of Foreign Wars for 90 years of dedicated service to the Conshohocken community.
Thank you, Tina. With that, if council is so inclined this evening, I will be seeking a motion to approve Proclamation 2023-01, recognizing the Conshohocken Post 1074 VFW for 90 years of service.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is under Land Use Matters, Public Hearings, and Ordinances. The first item is consider granting conditional use approval for 922 Fayette Street. And we'll turn that over to Mr. Peters.
Thank you, President Leonard. If we could go on the record, please. This is the place and time scheduled for a vote on the application of Omlie, O-M-L-I-E, LLC for the property located at 922 Fayette Street, parcel number 05-00-03012-007. The matter was continued to this evening from your January 4th, 2023 meeting where you had held a hearing on the application. Staff has put together a draft notice of decision regarding the conditional use application, and that would be to approve, to grant the conditional use approval pursuant to Section 27-1203 of the Borough zoning ordinance to permit an office for business management consulting firm in the RO residential district in the existing building on the property at 922 Fayette Street. Specifically, the conditional use would be granted pursuant to Section 27-1203.8 as a use of similar intensity and scale to other uses permitted by conditional use in that zoning district. The conditional use would be conditioned on the following conditions. One, that use of the property be in substantial conformance with the application and the exhibits and testimony presented at the hearing. Condition 2, as presented at the hearing, that the existing building will be preserved, utilized, and maintained in a manner that is consistent with the existing Victorian/early 20th century character of this section Fayette Street, which is required by zoning ordinance section 27-1204.2. Condition 3, as presented at the hearing, the existing front yard shall be maintained as landscaped open space of the type traditionally found in the Upper Fayette Street area with shade trees, foundation plantings, grass, etc., as required by zoning ordinance section 27-1204.4. Number 4, in addition to the requirements identified in conditions number 2 and number 3, use of the property shall otherwise comply with all requirements of zoning ordinance section 27-1204. And condition 5, use of the property shall otherwise comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations. And the notice of decision also attaches photographs of the Fayette Street side of the property, which can be used to document its current state as exists today. That is the draft notice of decision. If council is inclined to approve the conditional use, we recommend that it be approved consistent with those conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. So if council is so inclined this evening, the motion is to grant conditional use approval for 922 Fayette Street, subject to the conditions of the approval.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank
And
you.
with that, we'll close out the hearing, and to the applicant, you'll get a notice of decision tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
grateful for the time and the approval. I have just a small little swag, only swag for everybody. It's just a phone charger. It's not like a. But I just wanted to say thank you. Very excited.
It's good that you did this after you were approved.
Intentionally.
Would you have gotten this if we said no?
Thank you, and welcome to Conshohocken. Oh, that's really cute. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. Oh, that's so cool.
We do want to thank you for choosing to do business in Conshohocken.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Little swag, huh?
The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The first item, I will read them both and then ask questions. The first is to approve and adopt the December 7th and December 21st regular meeting minutes. The second is approve the December ending treasurer's report and accounts payable. So if council is so inclined this evening, the first motion is to approve and adopt the December 7th and December 21st regular meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a motion to approve the December ending treasurer's report and accounts payable in the amount of $718,123.84.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is new business, and I will turn that over to Ms. Checco.
Thank you, President Leonard. Because the Borough is a recipient of federal funds, the Borough is required to comply with Section 3 of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1968. So in front of you this evening is the revised Section 3 plan. All funds that are received from the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnership that we refer to as the CDBG program and the Home Program are subject to compliance with the Section 3 regulations. So this evening I am asking for a motion to adopt the Borough of Conshohocken Section 3 plan.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And along with the plan is the actual designation of a Section 3 officer. And we are recommending this evening, due to her great work that she does on the program, that we designate Christine Stetler as the borough's Section 3 officer.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
We are requesting the maintenance bond release in the amount of $14,087.45 for 130 West Fifth Avenue.
So the motion this evening for council is to approve 130 West Fifth Avenue maintenance bond release in the amount of $14,087.45.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
We have two officers, Sergeant Murray and Officer Hall, who have requested PD tuition reimbursement per the collective bargaining agreement. So this evening would be a motion to approve their requests for tuition reimbursement.
Thank you, Steph. So the motion is to approve tuition reimbursement for the police collective bargaining agreement for Sergeant Murray and Officer Hall.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Stephanie. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. The first item is conducting interviews for the Main Street Overlay Ordinance Task Force. The first person for interview this evening is Lisa Rhodes. You can come up, Lisa.
It's good.
Good evening, how are you?
Good. Good evening, Lisa. Thank you for coming in and for your interest in the Main Street Overlay.
Well, thank you for having me. This is on, does it need to be on? Here, I'll switch out the microphone.
You don't have to do anything with that.
I'm usually pretty loud.
Okay. So does anyone have a question for Lisa?
Yeah, what do you see as our main issue regarding Fayette Street?
I would say that my opinion of the main issue regarding Fayette Street is kind of being at a crossroads in terms of there's a lot of history and established business to maintain, but there's obviously a need for development. So how do you kind of strike that balance to develop sustainably where there's businesses and amenities that benefit the community, enhance what we're all striving for, the small town feel, the walkable. It's kind of, we have to respect the past, but we know that we have to move forward. There's definitely some opportunities of buildings and properties that kind of need a nudge in the right direction. So I think that really the challenge is doing that sustainably in a way that benefits the community and kind of honors the neighbors and the existing properties that don't need to change. Thank you.
Lisa, you're right in that last block between 11th and where the Borough ends there, the dry cleaners.
Correct.
So, I mean, what do you see for yourself and for to bring the beauty up to that kind of last block where it changes from those gorgeous homes to not so gorgeous block?
I think obviously, there is an available property that needs to be developed.
Right.
So doing something there
Right.
that is, income producing, obviously, it's Fayette Street. It's not going to be something, that whole section is probably not going to be turned into a park. Whether it's homes or whether it's a mix of residential and offices or whether it's a small business. I think that doing something that kind of keeps in the character of those upper avenues. I mean, the borough transitions for a reason. I don't think we want everything to look like the block where the pub is, but I think finding something that is kind of low impact in keeping with the community right there, but successful and is going to stay. Like, I don't think we want something that we're like, oh, great, this is here, and then 2 years later we're like, wah, wah, like, now what are we going to do with it? So I think kind of taking your time and making your choice and doing your homework so that what goes there not only fits but is a fit for the long haul.
Okay. Lisa, are you willing to take on the responsibility of making decisions that are in the best interest of the majority of the borough, even though they may be somewhat difficult or opposed by a minority of the population?
I have 2 teenagers. I am used to making unpopular decisions, so needing to see the big picture and knowing that there's always people who are going to oppose something. Like, if you get everyone to agree unanimously, you probably didn't challenge them enough. So I would say absolutely comfortable kind of taking the big picture and having to sometimes make concessions. I think if you're making those decisions, you might have to give somewhere else, but certainly comfortable doing that.
Anyone else?
Lisa, what kind of skills, knowledge, professional experience do you have that would bring value to effectively serve on this commission?
Well, I work in a commercial function, and I work with customers all over the United States, ranging from like small mom and pop businesses to global corporations. So learning to adapt to a variety of communication needs and styles, kind of understanding who are my stakeholders. Do they need an update every day, or is an update once a year good enough for them? So that's in my current role, but in previous roles, I've worked in an R&D capacity for about 20 years. So kind of laying out a project and understanding, having like achievable milestones, what to do if you get off track, kind of taking an analytical approach to solving a problem. And I also have worked in our manufacturing location, so I've worked with a variety of people from, plant operators who are, honoring their union code to the site logistics leader who is like a corporate bigwig. So I think that I have had a lot of varied experiences that kind of help me form and lead effective teams and communicate well and keep an eye on accountability and driving to a conclusion.
Does anyone else have any questions for Lisa? No? Okay, Lisa, thank you for coming in this evening.
Yeah, well, I
interest.
appreciate the time and look forward to the impact that the task force can make for the community. So thank you for focusing on it. Appreciate it.
The next person for interview is Stephen Pack. Good evening, Stephen.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming in this evening. Thank you for your interest in the task force. We appreciate it.
Sorry.
It's okay. So, Stephen, what do you believe is the single most compelling issue facing the borough of Conshohocken?
I'm sorry.
What do you believe is the single most compelling issue facing the borough?
I haven't lived here in quite some time. I literally grew up in this whole area. I don't know if any one of you knew Springville Elementary, when it was Springville Elementary.
Sure.
I was there, and...
You're aging yourself.
I'm sorry?
You're aging yourself.
Yeah, I was a Springville stalker. Yeah, it's been quite some time ago. I went there, Colonial Middle School, when it was old Colonial Middle School, PW High School. So I know the area very well, or what it used to be. So I don't know what it is like now, but I know one of the big problems that Conshohocken used to have was the traffic down Fayette Street, going down 76. I don't know if that still is a problem.
It's
But I
still
think
there.
that was a problem that needed to be addressed. I own the building on 1200 Fayette Street, the cleaners, and so traffic would be almost up to there at times. So I think that was one thing that needed to be addressed back then. Like I said, I don't know about now. I don't know if
It's not that bad now, thank God.
So that is one thing. But I think Conshohocken has changed since I've been around here in 1,000 folds. Obviously, the apartment building, same thing. So I think my guess would be that traffic is still a problem, especially now with all the apartments that are coming up. I think that would be one thing that needs to be addressed, is the traffic trying to get around going down Fayette Street. So if my memory serves me correctly, I'm assuming it probably still does with all the apartments that are out there now, that traffic is still a problem. So that would probably be a big thing that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, usually it backs up to like 3rd or 4th now, not 12th anymore. So I said it usually backs up to like 3rd or 4th now, not 12th anymore,
before
thank
it used to be
God.
backed up to maybe like 8th. I think that
I remember.
the bridge is smaller than, I think they widened the bridge now. So
Yeah, they did, yes, you are correct.
yeah, been around for quite some time.
Okay, anyone else have a question?
What makes you want to be part of the task force for the Main Street corridor?
Like I said, we own the property, but I know it's literally at the far end of Conshohocken. But We've had that property, my parents had bought that property back in 1990, early 1990s. I actually own the property next door, which is on the Plymouth side, but so I've had a lot of real estate, and I've seen the way Conshohocken has grown. I've seen all the changes that's been going on, and I would love to be a part of that. I do real estate on the side as well, and I would love to be able to. Conshohocken it's near and dear to my heart because I grew up in the area. My parents, I think the building Town Valley Cleaners is what helped my family go to college, make a living. So Conshohocken actually has like a very big part of my family history, a big part of what I've done. I know Brian Pieri from the Pieri restaurant. I know Robin Gupta. I know a lot of the businesses around here, and so being able to help them out, I think, would be a big plus on my part.
Thank you. Anyone else?
What do you see happening at the upper end of Fayette?
I'm-
What do you envision happening with the upper end of Fayette?
With Fayette Street or
The upper end?
The upper
the upper side?
Where you are, on your
Well,
block.
Are you
actually,
talking
from
about the
8th
more
Well, not
Yeah.
just that, but the whole area itself.
the
like
whole
from 8th
area?
Avenue up.
I think that would depend on what the people in the area want as well. I don't think one person should have a say in how an area is developed. Whether Wawa comes in or whether like an apartment building comes in, I think there should be more of a kind of a general consensus of what the people in the area would want. I know Conshohocken's been changing a lot. For example, the hotel that just came in. So all that. So I don't know if I've heard that Conshohocken, they want to kind of make Fayette Street like Ambler, Butler Pike. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know people want to keep like the older home style feeling, and I love that. I actually like the feeling that people walking down, watching people jogging in the mornings. That to me is great. And if I could keep that, I think that would be great. But then I also know that you kind of have the only constant thing is change, and it's going to change no matter what. And so you kind of have to go with the general consensus, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great answer. Well, thank you for coming in this evening, and thank you for your interest. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I was at the cleaners today. There was. The next person on the interview list is Bill McLaughlin. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Bill, so what would you like to see happening as changes to connect the lower end and the upper end of Fayette Street? Not just the very end, the whole upper end, which is what the overlay is about.
Well, the lower end is very walkable because you have the restaurants and things like there. The upper end, not so much, other than Stone Rose. So it'd be nice to see some more, like some of that development coming up, restaurants or things that would draw people to walk up in that area. I think would be nice.
Okay. Anyone else have a question?
What is your interest in joining this?
So my house is at 10th and Fayette. My office is the Leland Mansion, so I own that. So since my life is on Fayette Street, I want to, I'm interested in what goes on the street, obviously. So, being a part of the conversation is important to me. So, and I also believe in the preserving of we preserved the mansion. Obviously, we had to, but we also wanted to. That's how we bought it. And then my house even is a perfect layout for a multi-family, but I wanted to preserve the history of what the building is. So I love, even reading here in 922, you're preserving the exterior. I think that's awesome. To keep the look and the feel of that part of the street too is a good thing. That's why I'm interested.
When Mike was reading about 922, he mentioned a lot of preserving on those blocks in the RO district, keeping the facades and the front lawns, and you've done a beautiful job, obviously, on your properties. How do you see making that area preserved, but a little bit more dynamic for people to walk? If that's possible. I mean, it's a big order.
That's a good question. I guess it depends upon what kind of businesses are going in up there.
Right.
Like there's some businesses do go in. There was a yoga studio or Pilates studio. I'm not sure they survived through the pandemic and things.
No.
So it's just a matter of, I think it's a matter of getting businesses in there, like Lisa, what you mentioned. I think it was Lisa, I'm sorry. But,
Right.
getting businesses in there that will draw attention to people that, people want to walk up to there. I mean, I walk up and down the street all day long.
I do too.
So I think it's just having something up there that's more like, not an anchor, but a draw. That's going to have people want to come up to that part of town.
Right. Do you think that specialty shops are feasible up in that area?
I think a restaurant's first,
Okay.
just because I think people go to the restaurant, then they walk out of the restaurant, they see something else there. That's usually a draw.
That makes sense.
And, but I think once you have some of that, then specialty shops could fill in around it.
Okay. Anyone else have a question? No? Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you for preserving that home on 10th Avenue. It is beautiful. It truly is, as is your Howe property, but we all know that, so. Okay. The next item on the agenda is consider authorizing the advertisement of an RFP for design consultant service for the Shuttle Park Trail Reconstruction Project. I'll turn that over to Stephanie.
We did discuss the RFP at your January 4th meeting. The RFP is specific for the Sutcliffe Path renovation and reconstruction project. We are the recipient of DCNR funds for that project in the amount of $250,000, and there are certain stipulations that we have to follow for that grant money. This is the first step in selecting that consultant, which will then participate in that DCNR process. The RFP, if approved this evening, would be advertised on the 19th. The submissions are due on the 6th. Administration will compile those submissions and present a recommendation to you for selection on the 15th, if applicable, of February.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. So if council is inclined this evening, the motion is to authorize advertisement for an RFP for design consultant services for the Sutcliffe Park Trail Reconstruction Project.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Steph, could I just ask a clarifying question? So the RFP design consultant services is in the fiscal year 23 budget.
Correct?
Is the actual work and grant allocated for 23?
It is in the 2023 budget. The likelihood of it actually hitting in the 2023 budget is very low. We will track the DCNR grant, which has basically a 5-year period for those dollars to be expended. The Greenways Trails and Recreation Grant that was awarded by the Commonwealth Financing Authority in $60,000, that's a 3-year program. So there'll be really a period of time where we'll have those grant dollars allocated in the budget, and it will carry over until the project is complete.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there any public comment this evening? Public comment. Okay. Stace?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Anita?
Nothing.
Just congratulations to the mayor.
Nothing.
Karen?
I do not have anything this evening, thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing? Okay, with that, I will thank everyone for coming this evening, and meeting adjourned.